Hello guys, it's NautoAisDx, and I want to give more thoughts of this censorship because recently at Nintendo they did their shareholder meeting, and one of the questions there, basically I gotta give thanks to an investor basically talking about, well, censorship and what's the position, what their opinion from Shotaro Furukawa, president of Nintendo, the big Nintendo in Japan. But before I start, first I want to really give props, of course, already with Young Ye, basically giving his opinion about Sony censorship, along with Matt Simmons, part of the Yo Video Game crew. He also gave his opinion about Sony censorship, and now another props is Review Tech USA. He also decided to give his thoughts on censorship, and it was spot on. I agree with what they said 100%. And that is, let the government deal with it. Let the actual people who rate your game deal with it. Let the parents deal with it, not the company. Because if you're trying to make yourself look good for the company, no, it doesn't work, because Nintendo kind of did that in the past. So I want to expand on this, what Shunta Furukawa answered to the shareholder. But before that, I also want to make a comment here because at the same time, of course, if you heard, Super Neptune RPG finally came out worldwide. I'm recording this at July, so in Europe, in the US, it's already out. I've been playing the Steam version and the Switch version. I am still waiting for my PlayStation 4 version, but Amazon right now, there's something wrong. I may not even get it until next week. I'm probably going to call them, say what's going on, why that's happening, but that's a different story there. But in the MAA, they actually have a Reddit MAA, and a lot of good questions actually came up there. But one of the policy rule that they cannot answer or talk about, and I'm like, yeah, kind of no surprise, and that is they can't talk about censorship. And no, this is not exclusive to just artisans doing it. Sad to say, Sony was being a bully about this, because believe it or not, they have this sort of a policy that any developer, any company who makes game for the PlayStation cannot disclose about censorship. They are not allowed to. A lot of developer basically came out, said, yeah, we cannot talk about it. People who basically quit or move on or don't want to deal with Sony basically said, yeah, we were told we can't basically say anything about censorship. And for that, Sony, again, hashtag grow up Sony. Why? I mean, you're doing already something wrong, and you're still trying to stick to your guns. Shame on you, Sony. Shame on you. I mean, even Review Tech USA, I mean, I don't know if he likes anime fan servicey type games, but yeah, he even said himself that it's kind of stupid. So yeah, it is unfortunate that they can't even disclose it. Like, no matter what, they cannot disclose about censorship, and even Artisan Studio said, yeah, we can't talk about it. So anyway, beside the point, basically in the shareholder meeting from Nintendo, they asked us one question, and I love the response. I even love this investor, shareholder, basically concerned about censorship, because they probably were in tune of what's happening with the other company, and they're saying, okay, is this censorship good or bad? And they're seeing a lot of the consumer are bitching about it, including myself, excuse the language, and they're like, okay, maybe that's not a good idea to do censorship. Let's ask Nintendo's opinion about it. So the question asked was about content regulation on other platforms. There are cases of restriction applied independently of the CERO and other third-party organization. What does Nintendo do? And I love that question, because case of restriction applied independently of the CERO, i.e. Sony, because you already have the CERO, you already have the PEGI, you already have the ESRB, and yet you go that far and censor some more. What dictates you to basically say what's good or bad for the consumer? Why not let the parent, why not let the consumer decide it? Are you telling them they're dumb, they're stupid? Do you love children or something? Because you always keep saying, oh, we're protecting the children, which is, again, it's a cliche. It's like, oh, dude, people already talk about it. It's not working in 2019. Yes, it might work in 1992 because here's the thing. I'm in my 40s or late 30s. Yeah, I'm a 40-year-old. Let's just say that. In 1992, I was a 12-year-old. I was one of the first generation who got into video game. We were the generation were introduced to the Atari, to the NES, to the Sega Master, you name it, that was us. We grew up. So there are new generation games. That's why there's M-rated game. There is also the ESRB or any age rating. Yes, in 1994, that was a big problem. That is a big problem. And yes, when you say it's for the kid, that makes sense in 1992. But in 2019, no, it doesn't. Because people who already grew up the video game, they got kids. They want to share the love of their passion to their kid, to the next generation. They got their own games. So why are you basically regulating games that's not meant for kids? And you keep saying for kids. Games for teen, basically like Super Neptune RPG was censored to a point that even Artisan can't even address it because, well, they're not allowed. They're not allowed to address it. That's how BS it is there. So again, it makes sense if 1992, but in 2019, no, it does not. That's why there's the ESRB, there's the CERO, there's the PEGI. That's why Nintendo, that's why PlayStation, even Xbox has a parental control option in the game to let the parent decide what's good for the kids or not. They can say, hey, this game is not meant for kids. I can't have an M-rated game on my console. Kids trying to play an M-rated game. Oh, no, not on my Xbox, not on my PlayStation 4, literally, or not on my Switch. There you go. Let the parent, let the adult, let the consumer decide, not Sony there. So anyway, to the answer, Furukawa basically said, Nintendo, as do third parties in their softwares, apply for one objective rating from third-party organization prior to release. If platform holding company choose arbitrarily, the diversity and fairness in game software would significantly inhibit it. We provide parental control that can be used to apply limits. Yeah, I agree with Furukawa 100%. Even Review Tech USA basically agree with it. Let the PEGI, let CERO, let the ESRB decide. If regulations say, yeah, you can have that game, we can't have that an E-rated, we can't have that T-rating, whatever, that's the ESRB, then I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to whine about it because if say Capcom wants Street Fighter 5 to be a T rating and they say, well, there's certain things that you can't make that to T rating, then they have to change it. From what I heard, that Super Neptune RPG, I'm just using that as an example because it's one of the biggest games I was anticipating, and it was censored in the PlayStation 4. It was already T rating. The ESRB, from what I heard, even the CERO, because it was for came out in Japan by Neptune in December, they didn't have a problem with the CG scene, the modified one. It was Sony who had a problem with it. That's the problem. It's Sony. And if you also notice, they basically only targeting Japanese games that are niche, that are basically anime girl that looks like teenager. And yeah, I mean, again, like I said, if Cyberpunk 2027 has no censorship, then you know there's some sort of double standard there because, oh, it's not an anime, it's an American game, it's M-rated, it's adult theme versus Super Neptunia, which looks anime-ish, waifu-ish, and there you go. Again, it's bullcrap there. And I love what Nintendo said there, and I agree. First is Nintendo themselves, as do third parties, which is the company that make games for them, such as Capcom, Konami, Square Enix, Idea Factory, Square Enix, you name it. And their software that also applies for an objective rating from third-party organization prior to release. Like I said before, if they are targeting a certain rating for a particular game, the ESRB, the PEGI, the CERO will tell them. And a good example was this one that happened was Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS was almost got a T rating because of one trophy there. Traja from Fire Emblem Awakening, they showed the trophy model. They said, well, we don't like that model, that character trophy there. If you're gonna leave it there, we have to give it a T rating. Nintendo themselves said, we don't want that, we want to be E for 10, so they got rid of it. Yes, it is kind of BS there, but they can probably fix it with a via DLC, which I'm surprised they didn't. But yeah, they said, yeah, well, we gotta remove it, and it wasn't really a big deal. Whoopie won trophy, but yeah, I mean, and then in the case with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Palutena, her dress, the cut length now it's lower because, according to Nintendo of Japan, they want it to be a CERO A, and CERO said, well, if you're gonna leave that, that's going to be a B, a CERO B or a T rating. Again, they said we don't want that. Super Smash Bros. is for everyone. Again, yeah, it's a nitpicky. I'm kind of annoyed a bit, but I really can't blame them. Again, regulation. Same goes with what's her name, Misra and Camille from Fire Emblem Fates. They had to modify them a bit. E for 10 or CERO A. Again, not a big deal. That's why I say, yeah, not a big deal. Makes sense. And, you know, again, when it's the ratings, you cannot do anything about it. I can't complain about it. It is what it is there. So, I gotta say to Shintaro Furukawa, awesome. I love your response. I agree. That's as it should be. You should let the ESRB, the CERO, the PEGI, let them decide what's good for the game. And if the developer or the company say, oh, we're targeting for a T, oh well, in order to release it to its original content, okay, M-rated, okay, you know what, whatever, we'll cut our losses. And yeah, because, yeah, that is true. Sometimes when push comes to shove, a lot of time they cut their losses, and yeah, it is sometimes a problem when the game becomes from a T to an M-rated, because then the general consumer might say, well, it's not for my kid, my 13, 12-year-old kid for this game. Yeah, you know, but you do gotta keep in mind that a lot of gamers are now adults. They're probably in their 40s. Adam Sessler, Boogie298A, Tommy Tallarico, Victor Lucas, they're past 40. Michael Pachter, who's in his 50s and very knowledgeable with games, and he still plays games. Good or not, hey, it doesn't matter. He's very in tune to video games. That's why a lot of people like Michael Pachter there. So the bottom line is, a lot of this company, it doesn't matter what your age is, video games are not for kids. Yeah, I mean, they're a good target, but they're for everyone now. They're games for adults, games for kids, teenager, you name it. And the problem with Sony is, they're trying, when they say, well, we're protecting the kids, what? So PlayStation's only meant for kids? It's not for everyone? I thought, I always believed that PlayStation was for everyone. I mean, look at Nintendo. They did targeted kids in 2016, and that bit them in the ass. They censored Tokimar Shafi because they were too afraid of their image. Fire Emblem Fate, the reason they got rid of the touch event and the touch feature, they said was, well, we were market reason. We don't want to look like creepers because people might think differently, and that bit them in the butt. It didn't really work there. So, I mean, I gotta give props to what Shintaro Furukawa did. I got respect for what he did there, and I agree with 100% that yes, let the ESRB, the CERO, the PEGI, let them deal with the rating. The company doesn't have to deal with it. They don't have to worry about it. If they are aiming for a particular rating, they will tell you. So basically, the bottom line, what Furukawa basically said there is, we're not censoring the game, we're not going to do it anymore, because they used to do it in the past, but now they said, no, yes. The case with Howard Lincoln in 1992, by saying that we protect the children, it makes sense, because I was that child, they are protecting me, and I do agree as of right now as an adult, that yeah, the ratings does help. It understands, it let the general consumer, the parent know, hey, okay, this game is not for kids, thank you, there you go. I mean, like I said, to Sony is, hopefully you change your ways, I hope you grow up, because right now, you guys are idiots, like you are idiots, and you're double standards there, and it's pretty disgusting, and all I can say. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Furukawa's, on his censorship. I want to give props also to Review Tech USA for giving his opinion about it. the reason why that's a good thing now, at least now more people, because he's, a lot of people follow him. Now, more people in tune, and I think the majority of people, whether you like anime games or not, or fan service or not, they do agree in one thing. Everybody agrees that yes, censorship really sucks. So yeah, so with that, I'll see you guys later.